So, Lewis, I have a question for you. You talked about, like obviously a lot of people have experienced massage, they've experienced stretching, they've experienced physiotherapy, they've experienced chiropractic care. Mm-hmm. What is the, and a lot of those seem passive to me. Like you lay there and somebody does something to you. And my experience has been that it tends to come back, right? You adjust it or you get massaged, the tension comes back the same place, the same way. Have you noticed that getting under network care, that your body seems to be maintaining a lot of what we're doing?
Oh, definitely.
It's as if it's like a learning that's happening, and because you're doing most of the work, it's not passive, but instead it's active, and it's more and more sustainable. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so basically the best way I noticed that was when I work out at the gym, that you can work, I can lift better, I can lift more weight, and my way I can do it is a lot easier. Before I was like stuck, and I got like back pain, neck pain, doing all the weight training. So after network chiropractic care, I was able to do it a lot better, a lot easier, more relaxed, more stuff in comparison to doing like the regular chiropractor, which you just crack it and then go to the gym, you still feel the exact same.
I've heard from a lot of CrossFit athletes and professional performers that have come in the office. They say my recovery is so much better.
Oh, that's actually true. Yeah.
As a result of getting worked on. Have you noticed the same with your workouts?
Yep. As long as I don't eat, yes.
Yeah, okay. So if I eat the beer, and then, got that part.
Yeah, but the recovery is a lot faster because I think it is because your body is more straight. You can breathe better. So that breathing gives you more energy when you're doing the exercise. So it's really neat.
And that makes sense to me, that the lower your tension, the more your body's invested in healing and recovery rather than just holding you together. If I were to compare network care to a lot of other modalities out there, acupuncture and chiropractic and physical therapy, which are all, it's great stuff. But from my experience, a lot of them I was frustrated where the benefits seemed to be temporary. Mm-hmm. After massage, a couple hours later, I started getting tight again, and I would like seeing the chiropractor, but every time I get adjusted, I would go back a few days later or a week later, and I got the same bone out the same way. Mm-hmm. Have you noticed that under network care, that the more care you get, the better your baseline is? As if you don't go from here all the way back to where you were before, but instead it's like a learning or a progression where your baseline is
like
better than it was?
2 steps forward, 1 step back, like you talk about in the book.
So, yes, it is. But since it's the network care, you need to do it a lot by yourself. It takes a lot of effort from your own. If you stop doing the consciousness exercises, then you start going back. But if you do everything like you do your appointments and you do the consciousness exercise all at the same time, yes, it'll continually increase and you feel a lot better.
And it's like you have a new baseline.
So
it's not going back with the same thing. It's progressive.
Yeah, but if you stop you stop like doing your own, it will go back like
Nice.
Yeah, but I still feel a lot better, even though but if I stop, I will start going slowly, backward.
Yeah, it's interesting because
you go back, but you don't go all the way back.
Exactly.
The bar keeps getting set as long as you stick with care.
Exactly.
And most importantly, you continue to make the changes in your life. Because if you don't make changes in your life, you're still inputting that same vibration in your physiology and your nervous system.
Exactly.
But when you feel so calm and relaxed, and then like talking about my old business partner James, you got somebody like that. It's just constantly stressed and pissed off at the world about everything. Those people, you just want to get away from them. You don't feel good being around them.
James should have come into the office, by the way. It would have helped.
You can just feel people like that trying to impose, because we all project what's inside. So if somebody feels like crap inside, or they're angry, or they're upset, they project it on other people. Because being angry, upset, it's using a lot of force. Being peaceful and relaxed is our natural state. So it's a much more efficient physiology, and that's why you notice like being in the bank when people come in all upset and you're just kind of calm and you don't get upset. Eventually they entrain to you and they become calm because you're calm, because it's more efficient to be that way.
You became a space conditioner. Instead of them conditioning you where you reacted, the more connected you are. From my experience with the consciousness exercises especially, and with the network care, you're so peaceful and you're so centered that it's like you're conditioning the space and other people are entraining their rhythm to yours.
Yep. And the thing that I notice is, like I just said, some people come just angry. And most of the, I think 100% of the time, it's their fault, not mine. They try to blame me for their problem, their financial problems.
Were they politicians? They blame everybody else for what's going on.
So
they one of these?
So basically, I think people are not taking personal responsibility, and they want to blame someone else for their mistakes, and that to me is not gonna go. To me, if you come here, I will tell you exactly how it is. If they don't like it, oh well, there's another banker on the other side.
So it sounds like
Yeah.
you've developed boundaries and borders. You're like, okay, this is acceptable, this isn't acceptable.
Yep, especially when people that have bad credit is still, well, you're doing this bad, let's do it this way. So you can fix your credit, you can become better at that. Also with the personal finances. And you keep going, trying to help the people.
And that actually builds trust.
Yeah. They
When you
trust
have
me a
those
lot.
boundaries and you call it as it is, people
Yeah.
see that you're being real with them, they trust you so much more.
Yeah. Yeah. And some people come with relationship problems too. Which I actually refer your book to one guy, which, oh my God, a mess on his finances because someone he met. So gave me a sticky note where you're like, read the book. I told him. I literally told him, you need to read this book.
Read
you ever
Corey's
read it?
book and come in and see Dominick and get your consciousness.
Yeah.
He did read it?
I don't know.
Oh.
I don't know. He
Sent him on his
he
way.
had a situation with his it's very particular situation with his wife basically broke him completely, took all his money, and it was a mess. And
That happens a lot, man.
He was probably a do boy.
But
You
no one
just-
will ever do or say anything to you that you don't invite them to do.
That's why I told him, oh,
That's why I see a lot the guys, and like we've talked about this, the red pill community guys that have read Rollo Tomasi's book, The Rational Male. You've got like the MGTOW guys and the other people. I'm red pill aware, and they're all just fucking angry and pissed off at the world. And so when they go through somebody's work like that, and they don't want to take any personal responsibility, even though they think they are, it gives them the reason to go, oh, well, the reason I got relationship problems is because all women have changed and they all suck.
It's everybody else's fault.
Yeah, it's not my
So
fault.
are they-
Even
are
though
they-
they're like, well, I'm red pill aware, and that means you take care of yourself and you
Like,
take
okay.
personal responsibility. But they say that, but at the end of the day, when like I have Caroline or one of the other girls on a video, or I read an email from a woman, it's just the hostility and the nastiness in the comments, and these guys are so proud to pound their chests, and I understand women's true nature. I'm red pill aware and all this stuff, and that they're being dicks to the girls on my channel or just talking shit about women. It's like, would you talk to your mother that way, or your sister, or the women that you work with, or maybe these dudes are like in their basement somewhere and they're not interacting with other human beings very
So they're
much.
commanding respect, but they're not giving any.
Exactly.
it's easy to
Good
put
luck
a
with that.
comment online without going face to face with someone.
Yeah.
It's totally different when you go face to face with someone. Yeah. Some of the people that you said from the red pill, because I follow all of that, they just have so much hate in their life, so much remorse. I don't know why. Just
Yeah, we block a lot of those people
I
because I
don't
don't want to deal with that. The way I look at it, and I say all the time, is like, this is an NFL locker room, and we're coaching and living at the highest level. And if you're going to bring that bullshit in there, there's millions of channels you can follow. You don't need to be on my page, and I don't want to deal with it. I don't want to see it. It's so nice to just be able to mute people, and they're gone forever. Bye-bye.
yeah, good.
Bye, Felicia.
Well, they should get a network care, all of them. You will be a millionaire if you went to the red pill.
Everybody needs it. It's true though. Everybody needs it. What is it? 75 to 96% of all illnesses are stress mediated. I think it was in the AMA Journal of Medicine a few years back.
50% all emergency room visits or adverse reactions to prescription drugs.
Well, now that you mentioned that the prescription drug, that's something that I really like about Dominick. You don't need to take any prescription drugs, which is nice. Because when I started to get the seizure, they got me like this seizure medicine that fucked me up completely. It was because it gave me hallucination, it gave me all stuff. So with Dominick, you don't have to take any medication because it's your body basically recovering itself.
Yeah,
Also-
he's facilitating your body
Exactly.
healing itself.
Exactly. So that's kind of nice. That's kind of
Oh yeah,
really nice.
and thanks for bringing that up, because to make that clear, because I don't heal anything, I don't fix anything. I just look at the body and say, how can I create the most ideal environment for your body so that whatever the heck is going on with you, your body can deal with it the best it can. And from my experience, the vast majority of clients that have come in are shocked how their headaches have dropped out, their migraines have dropped out, their seizures have dropped out, their irritable bowel, the constipation. Again, not that I'm treating people for the disease, I'm not. I'm just trying to get their body functioning the best it can. And it's just amazing to see how much better the body does function. It's almost as if the body can heal itself if you just give it the ideal environment.
Yeah, well, that's also true. Only if you if you exercise, you eat well. If you don't exercise and you go to the fast foods all the time, it's not gonna work. It takes a lot of effort to do it.
It'll probably still work. It'll just take a little longer.
Yeah. Sorry, but
And the person will become more uncomfortable. You know, it's
Yeah.
interesting in the healing arts. I often
That's
thought,
actually true.
I often thought, hey, the more I get worked on, the more I invest in me, the more my body's going to tolerate. But actually, the opposite is true. You become like an ex-smoker. If you've ever known anyone who smoked, after they quit smoking for a length of time, they can't stand being around smoke. It's like their body becomes hypersensitive to it. So what I've seen with people that do the conscious exercises and get worked on, they become less and less tolerant of the incongruencies in their life and their relationships, their work, their occupation, the people who they tolerate, the people that they surround themselves with, and they just start, the chopping block comes out.
Yep.
Which I take as a compliment when they tell me about that, because I'm like, yeah, those people weren't of service to you and you weren't at peace with it. And as we get you more open and more peaceful, more connected, that volume of, hey, this doesn't serve me, gets louder. And I think that's why people move forward. And I think maybe
It's like when I was in real estate, I use the analogy, it's like a bell starts ringing. And the more you ignore it, the more you ignore what you're called to do internally, it's like the louder that bell gets and the more unpleasant it gets. And that's that year or so that I was in network care, but I was still in real estate, it just kept getting more and more unpleasant because I kept going into them all the time. And I remember just feeling, a lot of times emotionally, I was feeling like crap. And it was just because I wasn't being congruent with, the fact that my heart had gone in a different direction, but my rules and my story kept me moving in the direction of the real estate and the business. But it's like, man, that I remember like it was yesterday, sitting on my couch, looking at the lake, and that, I asked myself that question: what would I do if I had to start all over and was going to do something else with my life? Would I want to stay in real estate, or would I want to go do something else? And the first thing that popped in my mind was mentoring, coaching, teaching, that kind of thing. And as soon as it's like I acknowledged it, and internally I just said, okay, this is what I'm going to do. And I got sweaty, my back got real hot, like really hot. And I remember that. It was like
your body was dissipating the energy.
Yeah, it was finally like all that stuckness, that stuck energy.
And the interesting thing about how you worded it, everything that you just mentioned, that was your motivation, wasn't about self. You didn't say, I want the big house, I want the car, I want the boat, I want the plane. You said community, serving, contribution. It was as if you're coming from a higher consciousness. So
yeah, because I basically had been kind of resisting that. Oh, I can't do that. I got this whole business. I got 15 years in this. I went to college for this. I got a degree in it.
Which is the
all those
story.
Countless hours of late nights at FIU, driving all the way down to Miami, and the different jobs I had. And, by that point, I was, 17, 18 years in from the time I was 18 and decided to do it. And that's not an easy thing to let go of because, it takes a long time. You got to think in terms of decades when you're going to build something. Mm-hmm. And I was almost at 2 decades of my life committed to that. And then just basically sweep that aside and go, okay, I'm going to become a life coach now. It's hard to accept that.
When safety and constancy is no longer a primary objective and motivation, which is the lowest level of existence, consciousness-wise. But as we get you more and more open and those higher consciousness, if you want to say higher, but more community-oriented and service-oriented consciousness seem to be more and more available to people, which they do become, the more care they get, especially with the conscious exercises, the more effortless and spontaneous it is to move forward. So, Corey's a living example of the more safety and peace that you satiate internally, the less you need it around you. And the more you are going to move forward in life and contribute and serve in humanity, which is the reason why we're all here in the first place, in my opinion. So thank you for being that model, Corey. And I'm glad that I played maybe just a small role in that, coaching you through that with some of the hiccups when you needed it. But that's cool to have someone who's been there, had the safety and constancy, and felt that they had their needs met enough that they could move forward. So cool. Appreciate you modeling that for all of us.